Welcome back to another episode of Just a Tip, where we say the shit that everyone's thinking but no one is saying. Today we got Derek Stilmann, a guy who didn't just work in Miami's cocktail scene. He built the damn thing. From his early days at Broken Shaker to holding it down behind the bar at neighborhood staples like Sylvester, Champagne Bar, to opening his own spot, Kaiju, making the top 50 bar list, and literally helping shape a whole block. Derek's been in the room for all of it. This is a guy who said, I have something to say, and backed it up with Esquire and Bon Appetit features that doubled his numbers overnight. Word of mouth, community loyalty, hiring the best, running tight systems. He's lived the full Miami operator playbook, front to back. And today, he's dropping an exclusive about the new concept he's building right now. Plus, maybe a hint about the great neighbors moving next door. In this episode, we get into what Broken Shaker really was, why word of mouth still runs Miami, how operators can grow too fast, the Hillstone Bible, and what landlords keep getting wrong. Derek keeps it real, raw, and brutally honest. So let's get into it. This episode of Just a Tip is brought to you by Rooftop Solutions. So the craziest thing happened. You might have even seen it in the news. A restaurant in Wynwood had to shut down for years after a leaky roof caved in. Imagine all that money, time, momentum gone just because the roof wasn't handled right. And that's why I always recommend Rooftop Solutions. They've been protecting homes and businesses all over Miami-Dade and Broward for over 20 years. They're local, based in Hialeah, and they take pride doing the job with honesty and craftsmanship so your roof stands the test of time. And here's the deal. If you got a leak, they will patch it for free while prepping your roof to be replaced. So unless you want to add a lazy river in your dining room, call Rooftop Solutions, tell them Felix sent you. Welcome back to Just a Tip. I'm super honored to be joined by a staple of the 305. 50 Best just named him one of the best bars in Miami, in the world. Ton of praise. I've met him over the years and he's jumped around, and in my opinion, by far one of the best bartenders I've ever met. If you want to talk about a guy who's really in it and going through the motions of opening a place, expanding, extension, how you go from the corporate machine to an independent bar owner, this is the fucking guy. Had to have him on, Mr. Derek Stilmann, man. How you doing, bro? Thanks for coming on, man.
Thanks for having me.
Dude, I'm really excited, bro. I emailed you a couple times. I was like, dude, I got to get this guy on. A, because I'm a huge Kaiju fan. B, I've been following your career from afar for the last couple of years. You know, we spoke about spaces before, but even when you were working for the man, everybody knew that you were probably one of the most talented bartenders in the city, in Florida, in the US. Like, you are the guy.
That's high praise.
I mean, no, but, and also never a bad word. Nobody ever talks shit. Like, you were just like a good dude. That's the reputation. And I'm really happy to see all this coming into fruition for you.
Yeah, thanks, man.
So I got to start with the humble beginnings, man. You were born in 305, right?
That's right.
Where? Well, give me the backstory.
Coconut Grove, Gables area. I went to Coconut Grove Elementary, Gables, did the whole thing, did the whole little tour of Miami.
What made you decide to get into the business?
I mean, my mom worked for GMCVB. So
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So she actually sold
for
Miami.
for those who don't know what that is.
Yeah, it's Greater Visitor Miami Bureau. It's basically they sell Miami all over the world, and basically they go around and they talk about different countries. My mom went to Russia and India and Canada, all over, and basically they're promoting Miami.
Right.
And so, you know, I traveled a lot. So I was kind of in already there. I actually started in culinary, so I thought I started in the kitchen.
Interesting. I didn't know that about you.
Yeah. It was a short term thing. I used to work at Books and Books as a line
Love
cook.
that place. The one on Lincoln Road?
No, the one in the Gables.
Nice. Okay. Was that Miracle? Or no, is that Miracle Geraldo or?
Yeah. I
Right.
forget exact. It's right
Miracle.
after Miracle Mile.
Right.
It's the one adjacent to it.
Right.
But I used to work there, and I kind of started slowly slipping into front of the house, and kind of it's been a long road. I mean, I used to work with the guys from Fukia when they opened Blue Piano.
Yeah. Okay.
I worked with
Caesar, Caesar and Annie, right?
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Shout out to Caesar and Annie. Love you guys.
And yeah, I just kind of little independent mom and pops to, you know, we just talked about it, which was the Hillstone. I worked for Hillstone for a while.
Right. And we're going to get to that.
Yeah.
But what made you, was it at Hillstone that you got into the bartending side, or?
No, I mean, bartending was, I did a pop-up actually. I was working at Pub Belly at the time.
Okay, for
And-
Mendine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And Gabe and Alad were doing a collab dinner at Pub Belly.
Okay.
And funny enough, I had jumped into the bar and I was doing like these sake cocktails.
Right.
And this is so I was like still doing like a lot of back of house stuff where, I was already doing molecular stuff, compression, things of this nature. And I just remember Alad had me peeling oranges because I still didn't know what the hell I was doing.
Right.
And Alad's gonna hate me, but he yelled at me one. He's like, "Where are the oranges? I need more oranges." And I looked. I was like, "Oh, I have like already 2 quarts for you." Like, and he was like, "Oh, okay, that's good." And then they offered me a job, and I was like, you know what? I kind of want to make that jump.
And this was for Broken Shaker, right?
Yeah, for Broken Shaker.
So for those who don't know what Broken Shaker is or was, or we're on the far side of the moon. I mean, let's tell everybody what Broken Shaker was.
I mean, Broken Shaker was kind of the pinnacle of like bringing cocktails to Miami. Honestly, it was one of the first 50 best nominated. Is these 2 guys who came together and opened up really relatively a pop-up
Right.
inside a hostel on the beach. And they were just doing really solid, great cocktails. Got a really good team of people who really were looking for something more in Miami. They made this tropical little paradise. And they would go on to, obviously, open a ton of things.
Right.
Yeah.
Dude, Broken Shaker, in my opinion, was the fucking pinnacle of Miami in terms of it was so different and so cool. Every drink I've ever had there never missed. It was never like a half-ass drink or like the vibe, the music was always fantastic.
No, they were on it, man.
How long were you there for?
I was there for, I think, a little over a year and a half, maybe 2.
Right.
And
And then you kind of bounced around, right?
then I got picked back up to open up the Pawnbroker, which was at the Langford Hotel,
The rooftop,
bar,
right?
Yeah, which
Nice.
went insane.
Yep.
I mean, the numbers that we were doing up there were crazy.
Really? Did you expect that to go down that
No.
line?
It was crazy instant success. I mean, and we were doing just cocktails,
Right.
And I mean, we were doing months of like 200,000. Like
Right.
insane.
That's especially back then
Back
in
then.
downtown.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That-
Cocktails were like $15.
Right. And then you wound up also, I heard, at the Champagne Room, right?
Yeah. So
How did that happen?
So I actually competed in MIB, which is Most Imaginative Bartender for
Yep.
Bombay Sapphire. And the second time I did it, I met Valentino Longo.
Shout out to Valentino, man. Fuck,
Val.
he's the fucking man.
He is. And we really hit it off. And I think, we had talked about it in the past.
Yep.
And we just kind of collaborated together. And it was a really awesome time. The Champagne Bar was just a beautiful place,
Yeah.
We did a really cool menu there. And it was just I'd like to say 2 powerhouses, but at least one powerhouse. And I got to learn a lot from him, and it was an awesome time.
No, he definitely knows what the fuck he's doing.
Yeah.
I think he's done a great job with Vice Versa, and
Killed it.
He's absolutely killing it. And then you kind of where'd you go from there?
From there, I mean, that's when I was, at that point, I was kind of itching to do my own thing.
Right.
I did this really cool month program where I jumped over to South Korea, and I did a pop-up for a month out there in this place called Pussyfoot in Itaewon. Really cool experience. And while I was doing that, I was building out Kaiju.
Right.
Um,
So now, where did the whole Kaiju concept come from? I mean, listen, I think first time I remember you sent me the deck a couple years ago, I was like, wow. First I was like, every deck we get, it's like, okay, let's see what the fuck he's going to bring. Like, I probably made it on his, but like yours, it wasn't like it was designed by like a design shop, but I loved the concept.
Yeah.
I thought it was so just colorful, in your face, but so simple. It was with just the concentration being on the drinks.
Yeah.
So where did you was it when you were traveling to Asia? Was that where you kind of got that from, or?
I mean, it's so funny. Like, since we're hitting 3 years
Right.
for Kaiju on December 3rd, big party coming. And I think the answer changes every time I talk to somebody.
Yep.
So I mean, the reality is it's an accumulation of all the places I've been. Part of just actually, funny enough, Valentino put it really well. He's like, this is Derek. But to me, I've always been this high-low guy. I like the idea of, this high execution. I think that's the cooking background. I just like how mise en place, having everything put together. But settled in an unpretentious way. You know, I love Champagne Bar, but it wasn't my place. You know, I love neighborhood bars, and I feel like we don't have enough of those. So I wanted that combination together. And I think over the time, I've tried to create these like complex menus, and sometimes people like just don't get it, and it's totally fine. It's like you come for a cocktail,
Right.
So I think that's where the Monsters kind of evolved, where it's like there's all this information if you want it, but if not, it's a monster and it's cool.
Right.
And I think that was the bridge that kind of finalized it together. And yeah.
So let me tell you guys something I see all the time. You take over a second-gen space, you think it's turnkey, but the second you walk in, it's not exactly what you need. Maybe the bar layout doesn't flow, maybe the kitchen's a little outdated, or the bathrooms look like they haven't been touched since the 90s. That's why I tell all my clients, you need to call Brodson Construction. Whether you're building from the ground up or not, you still need the finishing touches done right. Brodson's been local and family-run since 1989. They're the top 1% in Florida, and they've handled everything from luxury homes on Star Island to some of Miami's best retail and restaurant spaces like LPM, Cipriani, Hillstone, Bell Harbor, just to name a few. Bottom line, don't settle for nickel and dime contractors who might underbid the work to win the job up front and screw you over in the end. Brodson maintains integrity every step of the process to build enduring relationships and never exploit clients. So remember, if you're going to build, call Brodson Construction.
With the whole Godzilla thing, is it just like parts of your personality that like kind of, or like did you like have the thing for pop culture, or like where? I asked just because I think it was so fucking cool.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, I definitely am a big nerd, so that plays into it. Obviously, kaijus, but also just anime in general.
Right.
And then, honestly, on the nerdier side, I was looking for this because I didn't want to get pigeonholed into like it's just an Asian bar, which it's not. You know, it's globally inspired, and really the reality was the Monsters were a really interesting way of connecting culture all over the world. You know, it has everything. Cultural impact, it has license, life terrors, significance, nostalgia, and I really like the idea that like, well, we can plug and play anywhere around the world and find influence and honestly learn along the way of these really cool monsters that I have no idea about. So I think it's a little bit selfish in the sense of like something I really wanted to do and I think found fun and interesting, and I also found it approachable. It's like people will enjoy this no matter if you're into anime, if you're not into it, if you like monsters, you don't, if you're a collector. It doesn't matter. It's just cool on the surface, and that was enough. And I think that's the reality of sometimes in the creative world of cocktails, sometimes we lose sight of, and it's like, well, this is this whole complex thing, and it's beautiful, but you have to like know 3 paragraphs of understanding the concept to really digest it. And I was like, I've been there, and I failed on that aspect. So this, to me, on the surface, was good to go.
How did you know, as a bartender working at a bar, how did you know it was time to do your own thing? Like in terms of, I know that you had reached out to me originally, when you were like thinking about it, you're like, well, we got to kind of keep this under wraps. And, I'm like, yeah, absolutely, but like, because it is a scary thing because you do have to raise money and you do have to like, when did you know like that it would, not that it would work, but like, it's time for me to do my own thing?
I mean, Miami's a small place.
Right.
I think there's only so many places that you can go and grow into. It's changing, obviously, from when I was growing up to now. But I think part of it is the hubris of like, I could do it myself, and I can do it better. I saw things that were failing. I was like, I don't want these things to happen. And the other thing was, I just had something to say that I wanted to put out there, and I didn't want to be held back on like what I could and couldn't do. Comes in terms and creativity, and I get it. It's when you're playing with other people's money, it's up to them to decide what you can do. So I was like, I want to give it a shot myself. In hindsight, like obviously the work that we've spoke about is immense, and to find that balance is hard. But I guess the push was I needed to see if I had it in me to do it.
Right. And what were some of the challenges of like looking for the space, and what did you learn in terms of the licensing and all the fucking red tape that goes along with it?
God, I mean, I'm still learning that stuff. I'm pretty ignorant when it comes to it. But I mean, I remember the first time I reached out to you, it had to be foolish in the sense of like what I was asking or looking for. I didn't have much information.
Right.
I appreciate that you like the pitch deck, but like, man, the pitch deck was it was a DIY.
Well, listen, you know what? Like, yes, sometimes obviously you need like real operation guys, but I have seen many instances where when the talent is really there, the money and everything else can kind of like come together. And you were one of those examples of like, you know, guy. I was like, wow, he's gonna fucking do this, you know. Whether and because like even when I was reaching out to people, like, oh, I spoke to him already. Oh, I spoke to him already. You know, like, and how did you wind up at the Citadel?
So actually, that's funny. I wound up at the Citadel originally to open up the rooftop during the pandemic with the Beaker boys, because I used to work for Beaker as well.
Ben Potts.
Yeah, Ben Potts. And we opened up the Citadel because at the time Miami was like, hey, listen, outside it's fine.
Right.
You know, tropical paradise, cool. So we ran that. And on the mezzanine level where Kaiju is, was a prep area. And I would see this little corner, you know, space, these dim lit lights. And I was like, man, that'd be a really cool bar. In hindsight, who knew, you know, 3 years later, something of that nature, I would be opening it. You know, I knew Caroline Strauss, friend of mine, and she knew I was looking for spaces.
Right.
I don't know, it just came up organically one day about taking it over. And she's like, okay, show me the, you know.
Were you a little nervous, or were you like, no, this is the concept. It's got to be hidden. It's got to be, or were you like, second floor, nobody sees me, no traffic, might be too much of a risk? Was that any of that going through your head?
No.
Or like, you're like, no, this is it. This is what's gonna work.
Part of it, naivety, is like not knowing.
Right.
But I thought it was cool.
Right.
You know, I built Kaiju a little bit around the space too, in some degree. I don't know if it's because I'm overly confident, but I was like, I'm gonna do something cool.
Right.
To be honest, if I'm being really honest
Please.
here,
It's just a fucking tip, man.
Okay. I was out of Miami.
Right.
Kaiju was, you know, gonna be this little pop up. I was gonna do something really weird, and I was like, maybe people will love it, maybe they won't. I guess part of it was like, I don't care, and then I'll be out, you know, because I didn't feel like there was much more room to grow under others' wings. And lo and behold, you know, I'm here 3 years later.
Right.
People dug it, and I started finding like-minded creatures of people that we wanted to serve. I mean, the people that we get to serve on a daily basis at Kaiju are awesome.
Yeah.
They're good people. They come for conversation. They come for good cocktails. You know, I'm never a huge party guy. Like, I want, you know, it's sit-down service. It's not pretentious, but it's like, it's still kind of chill, you know?
Right.
So, I mean, that's it. And it just kind of trickled down. I mean, obviously, first year was a little bit challenging, and there was a lot of work and hours, and the money wasn't there. But over time, getting some recognition, that helped. I think just getting the community, the more spaces I started opening.
Yep.
You know, we get shout out to Sonny's people who, you know, come and hang out with us all the
Our
time.
boys.
Yeah. So, you know, I think it took the fruition of time and tenacity.
Right.
Yeah.
A lot of you know me from my F+B Miami page, but what you might not know is that I also run Florida's largest restaurant real estate brokerage called F+B Hospitality. Every week I meet somebody that thought that they could just wing it on a restaurant lease. And every week on F+B Miami, you guys see how that turns out. And that is exactly why I started F+B Hospitality Brokerage. We treat our clients' money like it's our money. We don't say things just to say it or paint pretty little pictures. We go based on facts and numbers. If we don't like a deal, location, or permit status, we are absolutely not afraid to tell you. It's about setting you up to last. So you could focus on food and foodies while we negotiate the build out and the terms.
When you received like the 50 best, like, was that in your mind like, holy shit? Like, did you kind of think it was going to come, or did you know, or were you like, wow, this is real and I've done this? Like, what was the reaction you got, at least with the first praise?
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. I mean, the first praise was prior to that was Esquire and Bon Appetit, which
Bon Appetit, I mean, that's
huge.
I mean, that's huge.
I mean, it landed simultaneously within weeks of each other.
Wow.
And we had just dropped our new menu. And the reality is, I shit you not, we doubled our sales during that time.
Right.
And we never really looked back, which is crazy. It's crazy.
Right.
Just we kind of flipped overnight. And so I saw the power in that. Obviously, you know, we're all chasing, especially in the bartenders, like chasing the awards and accolades.
Right. But do you think bartenders and owners chase it because it will bring business, or is it ego, or like, can it really change a business?
Yeah, no, it absolutely can. I mean, it's the proof is in the pudding for sure. Getting there is a challenging part. I say that one, yes, is the answer to that for sure. I think if that's your major goal, then you're failing.
Right.
Because the reality is you should be making a great place, and those things will follow, hopefully, you know?
Because you didn't really saw it out for these awards? It kind of just happened, right? It wasn't like you were like calling the editors like, hey, we want you guys to come here. Or...
No, I mean, we're a bootstrap, we're a little small
Right.
mom and pop, I do social media still
Right.
with Ian, one of my guys.
But do you find that like the community's so cliquey? Because I find that the community is very cliquey. So when people know, like they know, and then those are the people that like will reach out to like the magazines, like, hey, you should really check out this guy, and he's really doing something fresh. And did it all just happen so organically, or?
Yeah, I mean, I think, listen, it's the road is uncharted to some degree, or unpaved, and I can't say that I'm an expert within that whatsoever. I think the thing that my team and I discuss is, yes, we want it, but how do we do it authentically? How do we do it where we feel comfortable with it? And I think that was just through, continuation of like putting out good drinks, putting out good service, and word of mouth. I mean, the word of mouth in Miami is so strong. We talked about it, like
all the time.
Our F+B group is powerful here. And I think there are good editors out there and good writers who will reach out and kind of help you along the way,
And I think you definitely have a lot of influencers that like are obsessed with like your stuff. Like,
oh, for sure. Yeah. I mean, I'm born and raised here. So,
right,
I know a lot of these guys and gals, and yeah, they help out. And
you know what? Like, I think that's very underrated about Miami. It's like, even like the bootstrap places, I think at one point or another, the community always likes to chip in and like, listen, let's bring these guys up. Let's, and especially when you don't come here with $1 billion budget and visa money to just fucking throw around and, not do it. Like, that must really suck. Like watching like, people, from the first minute they're going to be out of business. You're like, fuck, I wish I could have like had that money to like do my concept. And
1,000%.
And we've been seeing it more. Like, I've been like, you go to Wynwood, you're like, oh fuck, like another like place with a shitty menu, but then they spent like $6 million on the build out. You know, it's, okay, so now you're the hot new girl in school. Now, obviously, a lot of developers are reaching out, a lot of landlords, because they need something cool for their buildings and, or want a cool thing for their space. I mean, how many people like started courting you or started like reaching out to you?
I mean, it definitely happens. It's not super crazy, which is thankful, honestly. I have a lot on my plate, but yeah, no, it definitely it happens often enough now. It's easier than prior.
Right. Then you emailing every single person like, hey, if you have a pop up, right?
I want to do this bar.
Right.
I have no money.
Right.
Yeah.
But did you just find that like a challenge, like, because okay, this is you're not a restaurant owner, you're not really a bar owner yet. Do you find that like, okay, people are now maybe trying to take advantage of me, or like, mistaking my kindness for weakness, or because it's Miami. A lot of landlords they're like that. I
don't know. Maybe Kaiju wards that off.
Right. Well, listen, you have Nick as a, obviously at the Citadel.
Yeah.
Shout out to Nick. He's done some really great stuff, and I know that he's very fair. Like he's very,
The spot is. I mean, Citadel is super cool. I mean, you got a lot of. Yeah, you have a lot of small time vendors downstairs as well. So like it all kind of cohesively clicked in. I don't know. I the opportunities that have come have been great. And obviously there's some that you have to just say no to.
Right.
For sure. I think that's the other thing that we kind of spoke off camera, which was like I think it's easy to start saying yes to everything. And I've been doing this for a long time. I've watched corporations. I've been working for corporations and small time mom and pops, and I see the failures in both. I see the success in both. And the reality is, like, you need to be organized, right? You need to have consistency, but you need to have culture, right? Sometimes that like large corporations don't have. Sometimes the organization is what mom and pops don't have. And if you expand too quickly, I've watched that as well. It can crumble as well because you don't have your hands in the right places, and things get like left to the wayside and they fall apart.
Well, speaking of Hillstone, I know that you've had some experience there. Tell me about that, because we all know of this operational guide, which is like one of the most sought after biblical bar and operational manuals on the planet.
Yeah.
And people like, I will pay anything because they have it just down to a fucking science.
Yeah, and I did absolutely do.
Did you learn a lot there? Was that like holy shit, like there and everywhere else? Or
Yeah, no, I mean I did. I learned a lot. I think it was a place that created a lot of structure for me, honestly. I saw how everything was kind of thought out, and it created this like almost machine like, I mean, not even almost, it is a machine. Especially the one in the Gables, which I worked at.
it's one of the highest grossing periods.
Insane.
Right.
It's insane. And you know, if I go in there right now and I get the rotisserie chicken, it's going to be exactly the same.
Right.
Which I love. Like I'm a creature of habit who also loves creativity. So I did struggle a little bit there because I was like, I wanted something else.
Right.
And this is consistent across the board. I mean, some of the people that I worked with still work there. It's,
Right. Well, it's a I mean, you go there. That's your retirement thing. Like,
and I appreciate that
Right.
because it's a career.
Right.
And I in many careers, you stay in a place and you know, you have tenure there.
I've never been there for a happy hour that wasn't packed.
Yeah.
Like-
Oh, no. It's always packed. And I mean, everything. I think they even make, I mean, I don't know if I'm supposed to even say this, but I think they make their own ketchup. I think the ketchup's made for them. I don't know why that blew my mind, but like everything is so structured there. And I was like, I still chase that structure 100%. I think that was like, for me, the pinnacle of like getting that organization. I think what I loved about the opposite of that with mom and pop was like how much culture and connection you can have in a much smaller, intimate vibe.
Right.
Right. And I think I've been chasing those two together.
Yep.
That's the ideal perfect place. Oasis, I'm not sure if we'll ever get to, but that's kind of where I've been pushing Kaiju and this new project that will be happening in the foreseeable future.
Wait, do we have an exclusive here? Do we have an exclusive?
Yeah.
What do we
do.
got, bro? We got a new location?
We do have a new location. So I am actually opening another spot called Time and Place
Oh, shit.
near Sonny's, and it is a dual concept.
So we're going to Little River.
Yeah, we're going to Little River, man.
Love Little River.
Gotta
Shout
keep it
out to
close.
Matthew Van Dewert, AJ Capital,
That's
the
right.
crew. Thank you for creating a new neighborhood with very special restaurants and just fucking great concepts. Keep them coming.
Yeah, man.
Like my man over here.
I'm excited.
Look, as a business owner, I'll be real with you. Running my brokerage takes all my time. And in Miami, if you're not showing up online or on social media, you just don't exist. That's why I've worked with Sage Marketing Studios from the very beginning. Website, social, even this podcast. They're the ones behind the camera. Building strategy, keeping it consistent, and making sure my brand looks like it actually belongs in the city. So just a tip. Stop having your cousin post blurry iPhone pics once every 3 months. Hit up Sage Marketing Studios. You can find them on Instagram at socialmedia.sage and tell them Felix sent you.
So tell me a little bit about this one. Like I'm really excited about your Little River
Yeah,
project.
for sure. I mean, honestly, me too. Terrified and excited. So I'm partnering up with August, who is the owner of Breeze Blocks in
Big shout out to
downtown.
August. He
Yeah,
was one of
man.
our original clients.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
We found him the Breeze Block space at the downtown.
Amazing,
Yeah,
dude.
yeah.
This is Miami, it's a small world.
Yeah.
And he reached out to me about dual concepting. So we are opening up a coffee shop and cocktail bar. It's going to be incredible. It's in this little plaza area, a couple blocks away from
With a huge outdoors, right?
huge outdoor space. We also have this huge, like on our side, we have this huge hallway area where we have a Ventanita as well, because I think we need to bring a little Miami.
Absolutely.
That was August's idea, but I do support it for
It's
sure.
strong idea.
Yeah, great idea.
Strong
August.
idea,
Well done.
August. Strong idea.
And yeah, so we're I think the concept is obviously very, very plain cut, like coffee and cocktails, right? But I always have these like little images in my head of like what success defines. And to me, I have this moment where it's like two guests back to back, someone's having a really good just either pour over or a pulled espresso, and then someone's having an Americano and it's like 5 p.m. We don't really have this like drinking culture that's a little bit earlier in the day unless it's brunch, which gets chaotic. Like, so I feel like what we're trying to produce is this really great, obviously great quality in coffee and cocktails, but also a space that intertwines between like when you can and cannot drink, you know, and cafecito obviously and coffee in Miami culture is all the time.
Right.
So maybe a little more of the cocktail side all the time as well. And yeah.
And
yeah,
when you're
super
wasted,
excited.
you get a coffee and
Dude, a little high and low, man. You got to bring yourself back up.
how are those espresso martinis going to be?
Oh, dude. Yeah, they have to be amazing.
I mean,
Yeah.
I think they have to be the best in Miami, period.
For sure. I mean, Kaiju has a really great one, but I think for this, we got to go classic, and it's all about the bean, right? You know, making sure that we are really bringing some really good coffee to the table,
Right.
and some teas. I was just talking to Demo, who
JoJo, we got
yeah.
a little JoJo tea
Dude,
action.
we have to, man.
Dude, JoJo's a fucking beast. Shout out to JoJo.
Yeah, for sure, dude. And I don't know. We have this idea for, you know, kind of the new vibe is like daytime partying.
Right.
Final coffee, daytime.
You guys gonna be doing
Party.
some raves in the daytime raves? in the...
maybe not rave. Oh, who knows? You know what? I'll leave it open to
Right.
interpretation for now. But car meets, all the stuff, man. I'm interested in getting into the daytime like festivities as well. So it's
I think it's gonna be great, man. I'm actually really excited for you.
yeah, me too.
And you know, I know that we can't announce it yet, but I know that you're gonna have a bunch of great neighbors.
Yeah.
And I think that what they're doing in Little River is really special, and every fucking neighborhood should take notice because they're doing it right.
100%.
And that is gonna be the difference between a neighborhood making it or a neighborhood having for rent signs all over the place.
Agreed.
You know, and obviously I guess that's the next question is, you know, as a restaurateur, bar guy, you know, what are the challenges right now with getting a space?
I mean, so many. The reality is it's difficult across the board. One is finding the right neighborhood, right?
Right.
That's already one. I think Miami's so spread out and convoluted sometimes in weird ways. Like, you know, Wynwood, we spoke about, like, is struggling to find its identity again of what it is and what it's not.
Or what it will be.
Or what it will be, yeah. You know, it's sad to see Gramps going
Yeah,
down.
I've been very public about that one,
Yeah.
you know, but I think it's, you know, it's not just Gramps.
No, it's not.
I think it was just the idea of Gramps and it being kind of the
Exactly.
last,
Exactly.
you know, get a beer for cheap
Yeah.
and have a party, listen to some live punk rock music and, you know, even like Wood Tavern, like
Wood
everything
Tavern, yeah.
is,
Dude,
you know.
I used to work for Beaker and Gray. I think
Right.
Beaker was one of those too. You know, late
Big-
night. We had
big
late night
trendsetter.
happy hour, and like, you know, it wasn't a small place, but it felt still that intimacy that I really liked.
But in my opinion, like Beaker is the prime example of what is fucked up with the system right now because they had a great place, they had a good business,
Yep.
you know, but the problem was their lease when it was coming up to a market option, landlords could charge whatever the fuck
Yeah.
they want. All they need is one comp from the schmuck next door who's overpaying by double, triple, and that's it. And I know that I spoke to the guys, you know, a couple times, and you know, especially when things got hard in Wynwood, you know, paying double, triple of what you were paying. I mean, that's tough, man.
Yeah, I mean you know, and again, like, there's obviously some ignorance when it comes to these things, but I find it kind of simple. It's like your landlord is in direct kind of like partnership with you. Like, you're creating the space,
Right.
And I see places like that stay closed for a long period of time. Like, is it worth the jacked up price that no one wants to pay to get that one guy that will, or have someone in there that's consistent with a reasonable price for rent and whatnot? I mean, on top of that, not only is it inflated, I think Miami and just in general,
Right.
to be honest, you know, when it comes to permitting and things of this nature, which I don't want to jump too much into that, but like it's challenging. So you have, you know, I think some of our adored places of Miami are these people that like put it together and like, we can do it. But man, the scars are huge.
Right.
And it's like, why?
I'll tell you because, you know, I speak to a lot of landlords and some of them aren't going to like that I'm saying this, but you know, when I meet with developers and landlords, you know, they work backwards. They're like, to go into the space, which is might be a great space, I need the guy to do $6 or $7 million. And I'm like, bro, do you know what $6-7 million a year is? Whether it's the guy has one, right? Like, why would he fucking pay you, you know, $600,000 a year in rent? You know, like, but that's the mentality is, no, I need them to do $7 million. Not like, hey, we can get to the numbers, you know,
Yeah.
by year 3, year 4.
Yeah.
It's like, no, I need year 1. And if they're not open in 10 months, they have to start paying me rent. Like you said, it's a partnership
Yep.
and it's a marriage, you know? And
Yeah.
I think that if you don't find that, I think that's going to be
Impossible, I think.
big issue.
Yeah,
Right.
I mean, there are good places that either don't open or either they fail to open because it's just not a ideal environment, or they try to open and then they get hit with.
How many guys you and me both know that's happened to?
Yeah, too many. It's like, and then we complain about like there's not enough great places, or like Miami is. I love Miami, and I'm born and raised here.
Yeah, me too.
But like, we are a metropolitan city that I think still we're getting there, but still lacks in a variety of things, especially food and beverage. And I think part of that is because it's how inflated it is to live here. And obviously that goes beyond. There's like, so it's a larger conversation, but like just in where I live and breathe, the food and beverage, it's like, it's not ideal for small time people who may have something really good to put out and to say, that I don't have an ideal place to do it, and they don't know where to start. And if they do, they don't have the capital to do it.
Right.
And if they do, they have, people that kind of take advantage of them along the way. And it's just too many things that creates this trepidatious kind of feeling to be like, why would I do this? Why would I do it in this city?
Is that why you think the scene is turned into what it is right now? Not that I'm saying it's a bad scene. It's just different. It's, it's a lot of players, but it's not a lot of the main players.
Yeah. I mean, Miami's always been a little bit of that, right?
Right.
Like I think South Beach for a long time was this combination. I mean, we're a huge tourist destination, right? And I think there's a balance between those things. The big move over to mainland and getting some of these spots and like, okay, Boya Day and now Worst Rodeo and,
Kaiju and
Kaiju
right, and Trianan, or like, Sonny's and Fuchs now coming, and Barbucci. But I guess that everybody realized that, hey, we could actually make money on the mainland as opposed to working for the landlord.
Yeah.
I mean, right? Is that kind of like what it's turning into?
That was what it's jumped into. I mean, obviously, like things have jumped up still.
Yep.
And it's still expensive on the mainland.
Of course.
It's not like, but like,
and it'll probably get more expensive as more people jump.
For sure. But I think that was part of the reality, was like there were good people who wanted to do good things, and it was more approachable here.
You touched the subject of, obviously that we're a tourist town. How do you, like, in terms of being on the mainland, obviously you get a lot of locals, which is great. Yeah. What do you think, like, the percentage in your business, at least, tourists to locals right now? Again, you can't guess but
no,
like,
it's like 80-20, 80 local.
Right.
I mean, Kaiju is for the people, by the people.
Right. And again, that's what I love. Like, that's what I keep preaching to everybody. Like that, if you're going to open up, whether it's on the beach or anywhere, and you're just relying on tourists and the cruises, and, we have one or two bad tourist seasons where you're paying this obnoxious rent and you're in trouble.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm all about the local neighborhood spot. I mean, I also want it for me.
Right. Right.
I want more local spots that I could jump into and just have a cocktail or have a good like little bite and something to drink. So, and I think it's, safer that way too. I mean, knock on wood here, but like Kaiju is kind of dodged the epidemic of slow season.
Right.
I mean, we're not like this crazy space, like we're small and like, but we stay pretty consistent throughout the year, and I think that has a lot of value to my team, to us, and I think that goes to show you that there is viability in the sense of like doing things for the people that are here and not the people that are coming. And we still get a lot of people that come to Miami and they source us out, and that's amazing too. But ultimately, we're serving the people that live here and work here.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think that's great. And, I really do love what you're doing. And have you figured out also, as part of your journey, how to navigate the system in terms of like what days to cut staff, what, maybe close on this day? Like, is that something you learned along the way, or are you still kind of figuring that part out?
I mean, it's hard to say. Like we don't really cut anyone. We're such a skinny team already, and it's such a powerhouse team that like we're ready for war. Like if it's slow, then we're working on mise en place for the next day. If it's busy, we're on making sure that service is good. Like And we find in between. But like, again, that consistency
Right.
allows that, like, that we don't need to have all this like change in behavior of like, okay, you need to go and you need to stay and we need more people. Like, I think that slow growth too, like where the first year was a little bit slow and we've kind of just slowly been inclining. It's allowed us to adapt slowly where things aren't so abrasive,
Right.
that we don't really deal with that too much. I also think, I mean, we're much bigger now, Kaiju, because we extended, but like really it's a 40-seat bar.
Right.
It's a lot more manageable than, a 400-seat place.
Well, the one thing I think that you took from the big machine was, it doesn't matter at Kaiju who's making your drink. The drink is always on fucking point.
It has to be.
But that, like some places, maybe whoever the bartender is, they're not as good or they're not as like with your team, like whether it's you or someone else, the drinks are always on.
It has to be. I get so bummed out. I've been to places and it happens, right?
Right.
I'm sure Kaiju's failed some, but
Not in my eyes. Not in my eyes.
Hopefully very few.
Right.
But like you go to a place and you go for that drink or food or dish and it's like, this is my happy place. This is
Right.
where, I've had a tough week and you have it. It's like, it's just not hitting the same. Man, it crushes me.
Right.
Crushes me. So like, I tell my team and I learned it from a buddy of mine is like, your cocktail or dish might be someone's hourly, and act accordingly.
Right.
Like, someone spent an hour of their time to like invest it into this. And so like, I think it's really underrated for a bar that we really push the boundaries of like concept and stuff. Like consistency is key. It doesn't matter what you do. Like we have a Negroni on our thing and I want to make sure it's on our menu and I want to make sure it tastes the same every time. And if someone's like, oh, it's a little bit different, I freak out. I'm like, okay, got to figure it out.
You asked them like 20 questions? Like,
oh yeah,
right.
yeah. We had a chef come in not too long ago, and she loves the chuka, which is like this curry tikka masala coconut like lassi, and she's like, it's a little bit different. And I was like, I started tasting it with her, and we started talking, which was great. And I realized we switched up a process of how we did it. And the flavors were different a little bit. And it wasn't a huge deal. Still great. But it wasn't consistent. And I was like, all right, we got to switch back. Or sometimes we'll tinker and it's like, we like it like this, but it's got to stay like this.
Right.
But I think the combination is like, it's got to be intentional and it's got to be consistent. Right. And then obviously we joked about it and it was great. And I also think it opens up a dialogue to like have a guest have a conversation about it. One, become invested in it. Like we're kind of having a conversation. It's open to interpretation.
Right.
Two, I think it allows someone to be like, comfortable. Like this isn't really what I wanted, or it wasn't exactly how. And we ended up I gave her another cocktail, and it was all good. And she ended up staying longer than she probably would have. So I think there's opportunity in those things as well. But yeah, consistency is beyond everything else.
Right.
For me.
Is it because also that, with the economy, slowing down a little bit and people taking their paycheck and going to your place, you want them to have that kind of experience? Is it more of an experience place for you?
I mean, even more so, yes. But I think at the end of the day, like selfishly, like that's what I would expect.
Right.
That's what I want. Like I put so much time and energy into food and beverage. Like I really, there are memorable places for me that like will make my week.
Right.
That if I get a good meal or get a good drink. So like, I think in that sense, the empathetic like side of me is like, I need to do that for someone else as well. And it's what a bummer to like not give someone the thing that they expected or, to supersede that.
Right.
Like to me, that's the essence of hospitality. And I think it's in my blood at this point. If it wasn't always, it is now, where it's like, I want to make sure people leave happier than they came in.
Right.
Period.
So I got two more questions for you. One is a little controversial. Again, since we've been talking about it, you know what? But fuck it. This is just a tip. So, obviously we brought up the Houston's thing. Houston's Hillstone.
Oh, God. Oh, yeah.
I heard a rumor
Oh, no.
that the reason why we have a Houston's and Hillstone is because they don't want to release the calorie count. And so they created this whole other brand to avoid it. Do you think that's a myth or do you think that's like legit?
No comments.
Understood. All right, we're gonna be asking more people about this one because I think it's fucking interesting.
It is interesting for sure. I
But
mean,
no, they
listen,
really got it down. I mean,
they do. They do.
How about this? Even the fact to think of something like that, just to, if it's true, to avoid your. I mean, that's fucking brilliant. Like, you know. And for somebody like me who's like lives and dies for their artichoke dip, like
Dude.
even if I saw a 10,000 calorie like a thing, I wouldn't care. I'd be like,
Yeah.
listen, this is my happy place. This is what I'm doing. And
I mean, you got to know to some degree,
Right.
right? Like, if you're gonna have a whole French dip, or what's the dip?
Artichoke.
Not the artichoke dip, but they also have the other one. Oh, is it artichoke?
Yeah, the
you're
French
right. Yeah,
artichoke
yeah,
dip,
yeah.
yep.
It is artichoke dip. If you have that, and then you have a whole main course and a dessert, yeah, of course. Like,
I mean, that's my jam, bro. Get
Yeah.
a burger, bro. Get a fucking
I think they're, if it's great, it's great.
Right.
I'm still going.
right. You know,
if
it's
that's
like
true or not.
I feel like it's like being, you get cancer. Like sometimes you just don't want to know. Just you'll be better
Jesus.
without it. You know, I don't
Definitely
know.
not that bad, but yeah. I understand where you're going with it. I mean, at the end of the day,
If they perform, they perform.
dude, yeah, I
Right.
go in there and I'm getting the rotisserie chicken. That's
Right.
like my thing.
That's your jam, huh? You
my
brought that up
jam.
a couple times.
Yeah, dude, the rotisserie chicken is, man, it's a happy spot for me for sure.
All right, Derek Stilmann, thank you so much. But before you go, need to ask your top for the lightning round today. I need to know when Derek Stilmann is off, what are your top bars to go to?
Okay, yeah, for sure. I mean,
Where does the bartender's bartender go? That's what I want to know.
well, when I have the time off, few and far between, but I'll give you 4.
Okay, hit me.
So, I mean, in my area, which I live in Edgewater, right in downtown, you have Vice Versa, of course, Valentino.
Amazing.
Yeah,
Shout out again to Valentino and Sonny's crew. I think Vice Versa. Dude, I love their fucking burger.
dude, the burger's great.
Burger's
yeah,
so on
dude.
point there. But,
mean-
but I know you're a fan of the drinks, and obviously, you
I
know.
mean, the culinary. I mean, dude, they're killing it. They're
Right.
killing it everywhere across the board. But it's just a great another.
But their
I feel
bar
like
program
neighborhood
is
spot,
fantastic,
man.
right.
Yeah, you go in, you get to the bar, have a great cocktail by a great bartender, have a great dish, and you're on your way.
Right.
Right. It was a home for me, and I think a home for a lot of Miami is Sylvester.
Absolutely.
The Sylvester, with Ice running it, Renzel. That team is huge, big crew. I mean,
What do you love about it?
I love the duality of it. One, they're doing really good cocktails. The vibe, the Miami, like really Florida scene it has. And then it turns into like a club.
Right.
And they can do both, which, good for them because I used to run it and I could never have switched back and forth as I get older too.
Right.
Maybe that's part of it, but I mean,
And
that's it.
they've had a great run. I mean,
No,
it's-
they're killing
yeah,
it. They're
yeah.
killing it.
What do we got for number 3?
Number 3, LPM.
Wow. Strong move.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, again, they're my homies. First of all, Barn is awesome. The team is great. The cocktails are really, really tasty.
They have one of the best Moscow mules I've ever had.
I got to try it. I haven't tried it, but I don't doubt it at all. And for how fancy the restaurant is, it feels very approachable at the bar.
Best escargot on the planet. I
Dude,
say it time and
yes.
time again.
So good, so good. So those are my homies, and they definitely deserve a shout out. And then I've always been a big fan of James McGinnis. He just started running Shiso. I think he's doing some cool stuff. The cocktail menu is from National Geographic.
Yep.
It's beautiful.
Beautiful.
I think he's doing some really fun stuff on Mondays. They're giving him a little room to run.
Yep.
And I think they just did a honky tonk thing, which was
Yep.
super cool.
I heard of that.
So, I mean, there's so many other bars that I'd add to this, but if I had to do 4, for sure, that's in the area. Those 4 are definitely ones that I enjoy going to.
Yeah, no, she shows it's a great, and Raheem and the food program there.
Yeah.
The whole thing is fantastic. And I think, but like we need more of that, I believe.
We need, yeah. I think in all of these places, it's run by really good people. So make sure you're hiring and paying the right people to run your spaces.
If you can, any message that you want to give to any bartenders trying to go out on their own, what advice would you give them?
Make sure you got lots of grit.
There you go. That's my man, Derek Stilmann. Another episode of Just a Tip. Thank you so much for coming on, my brother. And we out.